Rasterizing and stamping layers. In this video I hope to make it slightly clearer the difference between rasterizing a layer and stamping layers. Luminar is a parametric image editor, and that's not easy to say. It's a parametric image editor, like many other image editors, and I'll put up down below exactly what that is, but basically it means that it's keeping all your edits live. It's reading through everything as you edit it and keeping it live. You'll notice that perhaps depending on your machine, that when you open up looks, the machine starts to slow down. And that is because Luminar is reading through the looks and applying them to your image. So it's a good idea, as you'll see as I do at the beginning of the video, if you're ever going into edit, turn off the looks. It will speed up the processing a bit quicker as well. The video is quite a long one. I wanted a visual narrative to show you what I mean instead of explaining it. So hopefully by doing it this way, if you're unsure when you should stamp a layer or when you should rasterize a layer, hopefully the video will make it slightly clearer. With Windows, I currently understand that you cannot rasterize images, you can only stamp layers, and this has its benefits as well, and hopefully if you watch the video you'll see why this has its benefits. Also, if you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll notice that now and again, especially with the composite edits, that I will go in and I will delete layers once they are stamped. I originally stamped layers all the time because I understood that with PC users that rasterize option wasn't available. But hopefully this video will let you see I quite a lot of the time rasterize my images to speed up the process, and it's actually to speed up the processor. I've got a 2012 machine, 16 gig of RAM, 256 SSD drive. It still runs well, but it does get sluggish, and not just Luminar makes it sluggish. Other programs have got quite a lot of image editing software within the computer itself. All my files are kept off on hard drives, but all my software is in, so that's really eating everything up. And Luminar can be quite processor intensive, and they say that themselves, but it's to do with what it reads through each time. Any slight adjustment you make, it goes back. My belief is, or my understanding is, once you make an adjustment in a slider, the software goes back and reads right back down through and goes, okay, that's the adjustments made, how do we affect this image? Then you do that again and it reads it again, and although it's as quick as that, it can be quite sluggish to the system, but not to a detrimental effect. That's the good thing, it's not detrimental. And you'll notice that, as I say in some of my past videos, I delete layers to speed up this process. It might be an idea for your future edits to consider doing this as well, but you have to be committed and know that that's what you want. You'll see what I mean when you see rasterize option. So I'm not going to blather on here and tell you about it. Hopefully the visual guide will make it even easier to understand. So without further ado, we'll dive right in. Okay, that's us in Luminar, and you'll notice the first thing here, as you can see I brought this in from Photoshop, but the first thing is, anytime I'm making an adjustment to this, Luminar, like many other softwares, is a parametric image editor, meaning it keeps everything live as it goes. So I make an adjustment here, each one of these looks will update as well to that adjustment to take into consideration the adjustment I've made. So the first thing I would recommend, if you don't already do it, is turn off the looks. And there we go. Right, I'm going to make a few adjustments to this, and then I'm going to stamp the layer, and hopefully I'm going to create a small visual clue as how everything happens, but I'll just show you the adjustments I make. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight into AI sky replacement for this, because you can see it's quite a nice blue bland sky. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sky selection from the Luminar library, and I'm just going to go bright blue sky 1. Although it's a blue sky, I know this has more clouds in it. Do I like that one? Not too much. Let's go for another one. Let's go for blue sky 1. There you go, that'll do. It's got more clouds in it, a bit more texture in it. It kind of matches the image that's there. So already we're adding this information in here. Next thing I could do is I could go back into the light, and I could go back into essentials, and I could adjust it very, very slightly. So I'm going to add a bit of a structure to this. So I've added that. Then I'm going to add AI accent, tiny bit again, always subtle. Sky enhancer, I'm going to push that a little bit. So each time Luminar is reading this through what I've done, looking back at the original and reading over my adjustments. So next thing, I'm going to pull the blue back. Go into advanced settings. I won't pull it back too far. So I'm going to bring that back slightly, and I'm going to bring the luminance back slightly. And just so that we're adding more information into it, I'm going to pull the greens back, the yellows back just a tad, and the luminance back just a tad. I'm not going to touch the greens in this because the yellows control most of this area anyway. If I was to get in and pull the greens back, I could pull the luminance back, and it just doesn't suit the image. So I'm going to leave it at that. So already we have created within this, information wise, remembering that on this 1.4 PSD layer we have added a sky and all the information from the blue sky and all these settings here. We then went back in and we added AI Enhance, which reads the entire, these are all global edits. AI Sky Enhancer, AI Structure, again a global edit. Colour, again global edit, it's targeting the blues. And as you can see, this is quite a clean image. So when I added the sky replacement, it's actually quite a clean image with clean edges. So it's really handled that well. So the sky replacement in Luminar, as you all know, as you've all tried, is really, really good. And I would actually bet to say quicker than Photoshop. So if you're replacing any images and skies, I would go for this first. Try this first. If it doesn't work, then go back into Photoshop. Do it however suits your images best. Yes, you can get small aberrations and everything that appear, but look how quickly and cleanly, and let's just see, because I'm not going to edit this afterwards. Yep, quite clean. Quite a clean image for that. Nothing going on in here at all. Yes, you can see it's been shot with two different cameras. This has been shot with a D850. This I don't know the information from. So I have that here. Had I shot my own sky with a D850, the resolution would be the same. So let's just stick with this just now to see how it works. Right, so we're reading all this information here. So each time it's refreshing, Luminar is going through this, through essentials, through AI sky replacement, so on and so forth. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add a new adjustment layer. So as you know, all the adjustments we made in here, we're now going to add more adjustments to this layer. So we're building up and building up the information that has been laid upon this image. This is how my head works when I'm creating images. And I look from the top down, knowing that the underlying layer, all the information's been laid on top of that. So the more layers we create, the more information it is reading. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get back into the looks. And as I said, it's a parametric image editor. So what it's doing is it's reading 4 PSD plus all the edits we made to it. Now I'm going to add a look to this. And the look I'm going to add, these are all my looks, I'm going to add DSAC green to this. So there you go, it's reading through all the thumbnails. That's it, that's the time it's taken to read the thumbnails. I'm on a 16 gig RAM machine with the basics graphics card in my Mac. So I'm on a 2012 model. So there you go, there's DSAC green. Totally changes the image. But I'm going to run with this just to show you the information here. So right now what it's doing is it's reading again all the edits that I've used to create this look. Saturation's been pulled back, vibrance has been pulled back, blues haven't been touched in this one, greens have. You can see that the light has been adjusted, so exposure, contrast, shadows, colour, details enhancer, vignette, as you can see, quite a heavy vignette in this. And then in the creative tabs, I've added a matte look. And then in the portrait, I've added the Orton effect. So already what Luminar is doing with these layers is reading adjustment layer 1, this edit, this edit, this edit, and applying it to everything through it. Then it's going, okay, that's all sitting here in one package, but it's to affect the layer below, which is 4PSD, plus all the edits there. So it's constantly reading it and constantly refreshing it. Then what we do is we go create new stamped layer. Okay, so now we have a stamped layer. And again, as Luminar is running through its processes, it's reading the looks and it's reading the updated version of this stamped layer. So this stamped layer, for me right now, I'm going to turn off the looks. So what's happening now is Luminar is reading this, and all the adjustments we have made here are stamped into that one layer. So the process should be slightly quicker. But again, it is still holding this layer, and that's why that layer's locked, because the original is always locked. The original file is there, and it shows that you can't go in and adjust it and then lose your original file. It's a handy thing to have in some cases, and others it's not, but that's the way the software works, I assume. So we've got that in the stamped layer. So should I decide I don't like that stamped layer, I can simply go delete layer. That's if I don't like the adjustments I've made. And then I can go back and make the adjustments. I'm going to edit, undo that. Let it process and bring back from the cache. So there we have the stamped layer back. If I make any adjustments to the adjustment layer, it's not going to show, because we've collated all the information that we've done to these two layers here into one layer. So if I want to speed up the machine slightly, depending on your machine, I can go in and delete the adjustment layer, as long as I'm happy with it. And then turn my stamped layer back on. Again, now it's just reading this layer with this one sitting behind it. It may still be reading that in the background because it knows that it doesn't want to disrupt anything in the original file, and in this case it's a PSD file. So that's how I see it in my head. If I'm quite happy with my stamped layer and everything that I've committed to it, I will delete the layer below, and in previous videos you've seen me doing that, and I've also said it's to speed up my machine, so you see that it actually has a knock-on effect as well. What we'll do now is we can go in and add more adjustments. Add new adjustment layer, and in this adjustment layer I will just go in and make one adjustment, and this will look terrible, but we'll make that adjustment. So there you go. So now what Luminar is doing is it's reading this layer here with everything I have done to it, and a global edit again, reading onto the stamped layer, retaining this. So the information's still there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the difference between a stamped layer and a rasterized layer. Okay, this image here, we are going to rasterize this just to show you the difference in when you commit to an image, if you rasterize it. I'll show you what 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're going to rasterize this image. I'm going to make a few adjustments to it and then rasterize it. And hopefully by doing this, you will see and hopefully better understand the difference between rasterizing and stamping, although they do create the same effect. So let me show you here. Hopefully I can make this clear. First thing I am going to do is I am going to add an AI sky replacement to this. Let's just add something in the background. So let's go to load custom sky, and I'll choose grey background texture. So straight away you can see what's happened here. We have everything dropping in place. I am going to take the horizon blending back. I am going to shift the horizon position to about there. I'll take it a bit further. There, we'll take it there. Sky global, I'm just going to try and get rid of as many artifacts as possible with this. Close gaps. And it will fight with some of the finer details. I'm going to take the horizon position back. I'm also going to defocus the sky, which will help with any of the artifacts for the purposes of this video. I'm going to take the horizon position right down. Relight scene I may take back, I'm also going to push the sky exposure, well in this case it's a background, and I've defocused it, but you notice it's affecting her face. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Edit Mask, choose the brush, choose Erase, and I'm going to paint out the areas within her face that this background, or in this case a sky, have affected. And I'm just going to pull it through any of the skin just in case I haven't noticed any, and I'm aware there's a couple of artifacts down here, but for the purpose of this video I'm not going to deal with them just now. So already we have everything in here adjusted. It's reading it all, same as before. Next I am going to go into dramatic, and I'm just going to throw everything at this, and I'm going to do that. So there we have a dramatic effect now, and you can see that there within the skin. Next thing, what will I do? I'll add mystical, which will combat the dramatic slightly, but I'll add a tiny bit more to it. So you can see we're throwing loads of information at this, and it's updating all the time. Next thing, we will go in and add a new image layer. And within this image layer, let's go for background crackle. Open, that will drop on top of the image. There we have it. Right, what I am going to do is I'm going to pull the opacity back just slightly, and then I am going to blend this through. So I'm going to choose my blend. Let's go for screen. So that's it. Already Luminar is reading that I have changed my image opacity. I've added an image layer, changed the opacity, and all the edits I have added down here. So that's what it's doing. It's reading these at every turn. If I go in and rasterize this, you will notice that every edit I have done to this base layer has come up to this layer, and every layer that I have added to this layer here has been flattened into one layer. So if I turn that off, I still have the background edits here and everything that I did within that layer. If I click that, you'll see what I've done. So you can see everything that I edited in there in the Creative tab, the Mystical, the Dramatic and the AI Sky Replacement. If I turn back on the Rasterize layer, everything that I did in that layer has just been flattened into it, while underneath it's reading the original image underneath, and it's flattened it into one layer. That's the type of difference with this. I am now committed. If I don't like anything here, I have got to delete that layer and go back and tweak it. Within a stamped layer, the layers are still underneath. This is now committed, so I now only have two layers. I'm now committed to that image. I quite like that image like that. There is a couple of things that I would go back and adjust, but I am committed to this now, unless I go delete layer. Hopefully that made sense, and hopefully it wasn't as clear as mud. With a stamped layer, once you have made all your edits, you stamp the layer and it combines all the edits together into one layer. If you decide you don't like that, you can delete that layer and you still have your edits that you can go back and tweak and then restamp the layer. And if you're happy with that one and your processing speed is still beginning to drop, delete the layers below. The only layer that you cannot delete is your original file, and that's a good thing as well, because you don't want to overwrite your original file, whether it's a JPEG or a RAW file, and most people will shoot in RAW anyway, so you don't want to lose that. So that's how a stamp layer has its advantages. When it comes to rasterizing, once you commit to that rasterized layer, you are committed. So if you want to go and tweak it and think, oh, perhaps I want the opacity back a bit on some of the edits you've made, you can't. You have to delete and start over again from your base image. So you can see the advantages and disadvantages of both. Both will be processor, and I'm going to use the word intensive very loosely because it depends on your machine really. I read quite a bit about Luminar, Photoshop and everything, and I see that some people have got no problems at all. My machine, I've got to admit, is beginning to slow down, but I'm in a 2012 Mac and I've got quite a lot of software on it now. I've only got a 256 SSD drive, although everything is kept on my external hard drives. the processing speed with 16 gig of RAM, the processing speed is beginning to labour. And that's not just with Luminar, it's beginning to labour with quite a few programs. So that's for me to upgrade at some point. But it doesn't mean that if you buy the software or if you buy Luminar because the processing speed slows down, that you should go out and upgrade your machine. You just have to make decisions within your layers and your edits. You don't have to compromise. Now and again, you just have to make decisions. Okay, do I need that layer? If I stamp that layer, it will gather all the information I could have a stamped layer, which I'm very happy with, the progress in my image just now. So I'm going to delete the layers below that. That means you only have your base layer, which is non-destructive, then your stamp layer. And everything is still there. So you're sitting with 2 layers where you can edit on top of that. So hopefully you got a better understanding with that. And it's worth trying it to see, once you're committed, you're committed. When you rasterize, you then have to go back. So you can make the choice, stamp the layer or rasterize it depending on the operating system you're using. And it's totally up to you, but hopefully that answers some of the questions between the differences of stamping a layer and rasterizing a layer. Stamping a layer, your original edits are still underneath, you can delete that layer. Rasterizing a layer, you are committed. You're stuck with that layer, you have to delete it. So that's the differences there, and then go back to the beginning. Hopefully you enjoyed that video, and hopefully it did make a bit of sense and it made rasterizing and stamping layers slightly clearer in your head. If you'd like to check out more videos, please check them out in the channel below. If you're currently not a subscriber, please consider subscribing because that would be greatly appreciated. Remember, stay safe. Thanks again for watching, and see you in the next video.